You ever have an intermittent no-start condition? Let's talk about it. Hey there viewers, today we're looking at a 2005 Dodge Dakota with an intermittent no-start condition. Hit the key and nothing. This could be a few different things. You want to check your battery voltage. Could be a bad starter. It could also be in the wires, fuse panel, or ignition system. After you let it sit for a few minutes, it would start up just fine. It tells me it's probably not a battery issue, but it could be an intermittent connection issue. Sometimes you'll have an issue with the fuse panel, so you always want to check your connections, battery connections on your terminals. Make sure that none of them are loose or corroded, where your positive terminal ties into your fuse box. Make sure that that's not loose or corroded. If you have a bus link, like a little maxi fuse in between the two, you want to check and make sure that that's not loose. Battery voltage is sitting at 12.3, which is sufficient. And just to clarify, this isn't a weak start condition, it's a nothing happens when he hits the key. Even if you had dead cells in the battery and it was a weak battery, it would at least click. If we look under the hood, notice that there's obvious damage where a rodent of some sort has gotten in here and chewed up the liner underneath the hood. It certainly makes it suspect. The next thing you want to do is check all your harnesses, wires, and look around and see if you see anything chewed up in the engine bay. This one I've done a thorough inspection on already. All the harnesses seem to be in good condition. None of them are chewed. Next question, are grounds okay? You want to check all your grounding points. Grounding straps on the firewall, anywhere the engine grounds, anywhere the battery grounds. And the fact that it's an intermittent thing, it could be a loose fuse. So you want to check and make sure that they're all in nice and tight. Typically, if the starter is failing, it'll at least click. But on this one, I actually had a symptom pop up that was a dead giveaway as to what's going on here. And that's that turn the key on, no lights came on. It's either a problem at the fuse block or it's a problem underneath the column where the ignition switch is. Working with these older Dodge trucks, that is a very common problem on the Dodge Durangos, Dodge Dakotas, Dodge Rams. The ignition switch can go faulty. At times it'll not give you any power at all. Sometimes it draws power when it shouldn't and it has a parasitic drain. That's the next thing to test. Check and make sure that we're getting power to the switch and see if it's activating when you turn the key on. Now, intermittent problems are always very problematic as far as trying to diagnose. If it's not messing up or acting up at the time that you're trying to diagnose it, you're going to get misleading information. And everybody knows the car is going to mess up intermittently, but it never does it in front of the mechanic. It always gets stage fright. This truck I've started up at least 100 times without no problem, but all the symptoms are pointing towards that ignition switch. So if you find yourself in a no-start situation, the first thing you want to check is your battery voltage. The next thing you want to check is your fuses, inline fuses, bus fuses, anything along those lines. Check your grounds. Make sure you're using the right key for your car. Make sure it's not an immobilizer issue. You don't have a security light blinking. If you've got power going to the ignition switch, and if you've got power coming from the ignition switch. You can also check the wire on the side of your starter to make sure that it's getting a signal to actually activate. Now, when you have no power on the dash at all, it's highly likely that it's either the ignition switch, or it's a harness on the way to the ignition switch, or it's an actual fuse or maxi fuse or fusible link. Well, I hope this information helps. If you have any questions, drop them down below. As always, thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.